You podcast with your host, Cassandra Lauren Gordon. And we are here with...
Sarah.
Yeah, she's here. Sarah.
From Sarabi Crochet. Woo!
Okay, cool. So tell us a little bit about your crochet brand.
So my crochet brand I've been running for about 3 years now. Since I've left university, but I've been crocheting for about 7 years. So a long ass time. And I basically focus on being as sustainable and really try and forefront the fact that I hand make everything myself and it's all ethical production. I'm not underpaying my staff because my staff is me and I pay myself a decent wage. I try and use really sustainable materials as much as possible. So I've been working a lot recently with recycled cotton, and did a big old project as well recently with plastic bags. So that was really fun. What else can I say about myself? Oh, I also really enjoy collaborating with some of my local Black creatives, and really try and forefront the Black economy with all the platforms that my brand's on. So I work with a lot of local photographers and students and stylists and artists. That's me.
Okay.
That's a little bit of me.
Okay, so let's delve deeper into the background of Sarah. So tell us about your background. And when we mean background, where did you grow up? All that kind of jazz. Because sometimes people say, where are you from? Or where, it could mean so much stuff. But it's just I'm guessing that you lived outside of London and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did. Actually, funny. I feel like when people ask you where are you from, it's really dependent on the person that's asking you the answer that they give. Mm-hmm. So I remember talking to somebody and I think they were Ghanaian and they were like, where are you from? And I was like, Kent. And he was like, nah, babe, that's not what I mean. And I was like, yeah, I know. I'm half Tanzanian. So yeah, I'm from Kent. I'm from Southeast. I'll give you the answers that I'd give everyone. I grew up in a place called Thanet, which includes Margate, which people are more familiar with, which is really up and coming now. A lot of art galleries popping up, and it's got the beach and rooftop bars, so loads of Londoners going down. That's my place where I grew up, but it was one of those places where it's okay-ish now, but when I was growing up it really definitely was not. It was very backwards, and had a lot of issues and still kind of is very problematic. Most of the time when I mention Thanet, people are like, oh yeah, Nigel Farage 2016, and I'm like, yes, he almost got the seat for Thanet, that sort of vibe. But yeah, moving on from that, I am also part East African, so I have Tanzanian heritage, East African, gang, and yeah, that's my background.
Okay, great. You gave us the whole history. I guess when we talked to other people from other ethnicities, just said, yeah, I'm from South London, and then that is the full stop. You don't need to do anything else, but usually from different backgrounds, especially when you live outside of London, you have to give the whole shebang.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I moved to London when I was 18 for university, and kind of eventually settled in South London in Peckham. And it's quite funny because a lot of people from where I grew up also have moved to Peckham, so it's like my little Margate at the moment, because I'm like,
but there's no sea and there's no seagulls eating your chips. The last time I went to Margate was 2 years ago, and I thought, it was September, it wasn't too much tourists. This is the seaside. I don't know, it's about 2 hours, 1.5 hours, 2 hours on the train away from London, and I was minding my own business, trying to eat my chips, thinking that I'm nice. And then the seagull is just gangster. They just took my chips.
No,
and I was
seagulls will haunt you. The seagulls are scarier than the locals, I think. They
did
are
not care, man. They did not care. And
they
in
get
my
the
hand
tourists.
though. It was in my hand.
Yeah,
and I thought,
yeah,
no,
babe.
forget you.
Yeah.
I need to eat. I'm taking your chips. I was like,
and the thing is as well, which really makes me laugh and cry at the same time, is when I go back to like my local beaches and there's a tourist there, and the seagulls will come and they'll like throw the food at the seagulls or like drop all the food, and I'm like, that's mistake numero uno, because that's how you start a swarm. I could talk about seagulls all day, but that is how you start a swarm, because you drop the food and then the seagulls are like, amazing, we win, let's descend. And then you'll get like hundreds of seagulls flying down, swarming, and then other people will start screaming and running and dropping their food, and it's mayhem. So what you need to do is cover that stuff. Can we swear? No.
Go ahead, yeah.
Cover that shit up, babe. Don't let anyone get to that. You protect that with your life. That is your new child. You have to slip a chip out from underneath the polystyrene case. You slip that chip. And that's how we work.
Etiquette. I didn't know there was this etiquette, because that would have saved me my chips. And the thing what got me, I didn't know how gangster they were. Even when I was moving away, they were coming with me. Like, where are we migrating to? You can fly anywhere, but why are they trying to follow me? Like, it was just,
where are we going, mum? Eh?
Exactly. Where are you going? Where are you going? Anyway, we're not here to talk about chips and seagull etiquette and eating etiquette. We're here to talk about your lovely crochet brand
really
and your.
I used to work at.
Oh no! I've lost her a little bit. My internet.
Oh, we've broken up.
Yeah. Okay, we're back. I'm here. Keep it going. Quarantine life. We're going to keep it going. Even if we have to turn off our cameras and put it back on.
She's back. She's back. It says your bandwidth is low, so we can try without cameras if you want.
Can we try one more time? And if not, I'll do what you say, because I feel like, I feel we're going to get there. We're going to get there. But in internet, you're stressing me out. Wow, you're working perfectly all day. I paid top dollar. I feel like I'm going to go to my internet provider, because I made sure I got the best, in theory, the best internet. But this is COVID life. Anyway, all right.
Have you got sparkles in your hair?
Yes.
Have you got like gold
tinsel like in my hair, kind of?
Shut up. That looks so cute. I am into that. Did you do it yourself?
No, it came with the free braid. It came with the braid thing. So I purposely looked for braids with what do you call it? Tinseling.
Yeah, I love that. But did you do your hair yourself?
No, my mum did it. So that is the benefit of having a mum.
That's why you go home. You can save dollar.
Yeah, especially with COVID life.
Yeah, innit?
Yeah, I need to find someone in London. So just for the listeners, I've moved outside of London now. I'm back in London. So I need to find someone to do my hair, because I'm still trying to do it.
Whereabouts are you living in London?
Ilford, Essex, East London.
East London, okay.
So I have to go either to Dalston or I have to go to Peckham. Those are the two places I know I can just
big
walk
up.
around.
Peckham, I can recommend you, because I'm in Peckham as well. I'm now, South London gal. So I go to Peckham Palms, which is really good. They have loads of different hairstylists there.
Okay, cool. I need to check.
Specifically Muna. She's my braiding babe. She does great hair.
But is it braiding babe prices? That's what I want to know. I don't know, because Beckham's becoming a bit more Shoreditchy.
No. It's still like fairly decent prices. It's not like, there's one in Brixton. I can't remember the name of it. Afro Hub. No. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like, they are the place to go. Like, I've always wanted to treat myself, but it's like 60 quid just for like consultation. Yeah.
For what?
For your hair, for like your hair type.
No, okay, so is the person a trichologist, where they test the strand and test the porosity and all that kind of stuff?
I think it's verging on that. So it's like very close to that. And that's in Brixton. They're like, it might not be 60 quid, it might be like 30, but I remember being like, this is spenny and you're taking this very seriously, which I rate. But
did it help you?
I was just like, I didn't go in the end, because I was like, I don't have the funds for this. But now she's a working gal. I do have the funds for it, so I might go back.
Okay, that's good to know. I need to know all the hair tips now, because I'm trying to get myself good for this summer life, having a hot girl summer life. I don't know how, I'm just hot, I'm not so, and this summer, so I don't know where I'm gonna
hot
get
gal
there.
summer, but like I'm actually physically hot.
I'm physically hot. And also the lovely government, how much the government take away my freedom. But this is not political. This is about creativity and supporting.
Everything is political, babe. Everything is political.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so how did you get into crochet and having, you know, how did you start crocheting and how did you transition of making it a business and a brand?
Yeah. So I started crocheting when I was like 18, and I'm sure people can relate to this, where you kind of maybe use creative outlets as a procrastination a little bit. So I picked it up basically during my A levels when I was like, hey, what can I do apart from revising to like chill me out a little bit, give me breaks, and flex my little creative muscle, which is always like raring to go and always wants to be really productive. And I've always had this like absolute fascination for making things and like adorning myself and dressing up. So I started making my own clothes when I was really young, by like upcycling some of my mum's maternity wear, which she probably hated at the time, but I was like, look at all this material that I can make into like skirts and stuff for parties. And then that transpired into just picking up a crochet hook at a haberdashery when I went with my friend, and some yarn. And I watched this crochet YouTube tutorial. I can't even remember who it was by. It was by an American girl. And I just remember her being like, so you want to slip stitch and then chain 3 and then turn your work over. And there you go. It's a bralette. Congratulations. And I followed her tutorial and I made this ugly bralette that was, it resembled a cat bed. That's all I can really say. It was like thick, dense wool, and the needle that I used was too thin. Say it again.
I said a cat bed is useful.
Yeah, it is useful, but it's not what you're supposed to have as a bralette. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
And I didn't have a cat at the time, so I was like, what am I going to do with this? So yeah, that's how I pretty much started, and then I just carried that on throughout my A levels, and then at uni it kind of subsided a little bit, and then I started to pick it back up when it got stressful, and yeah, started like experimenting with different things. And obviously Pinterest had like a massive influence in what I'd want to make, and I'd see all these different clothes pop up on Instagram and be like, yeah, I can make that, but in crochet, and just tested out loads of different things, which was really fun. And there was a lot less pressure then as well to like make something really good and wearable instantly, because I was new to it, and I was like, if I fail, I fail. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I'm just experimenting, and this is just like no lost time. But I feel like now, when you're a little bit more established, it's like there's a lot of pressure to make your time really useful and really productive, and it's kind of like failure isn't really an option, because then what have you spent 20 hours making? Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
But obviously nothing is ever a failure, and everything can be a useful experience and a way to grow and things like that. But yeah, brand. Oh, that's it. That's where we were. How did I turn it into a brand? I think the first sale I ever got wasn't even intentional. I was just posting on Instagram, and I had a friend DM me and was like, hey, I really like this top, can I buy it for my girlfriend? And I was just like, yeah, sure, I'd love to make you that. I'd love to be paid for this creative endeavor that I've tried to do. And from there I was like, oh, maybe I can actually start selling all of these clothes that I spent making and like never get the chance to wear because I'm either working or studying. So yeah, that's how the brand really started. And it's just been a continuation of just making things that I really enjoy and that I have a vision for, and then selling that to people or renting that out for shoots and things like that. So it's not one of those, it's moving more away from a business and more towards like commissioned art pieces. I feel like that's the kind of way that I like to look at it, because it puts a lot less pressure on me having to like make. Does that make sense? I feel like, yeah.
It's like bespoke. When someone gets a bespoke piece of jewelry, it's for a special occasion. It's tailored. It's made to fit somebody. Someone usually appreciates it more because it's made for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly that.
Or couture, you would say.
Oh, do you know what? I love that more. We're couture, darling. Couture crochet.
There you go. The alliteration and everything.
I love me a bit of alliteration. Come on.
There you go.
Come on, couture crochet. Cool.
So I was just thinking, like, I've been trying to knit. I know knitting and crochet is two different things, but
thank you. Don't you forget it.
But I tried to knit for ages, and I could do everything, but I can't. What's the word when you seal it? You know, like when you come to the end of the thing.
Cast off, I think it's called.
Yeah, cast off. Yeah, oh my god, I just give up. I could do it, like, and then where's this extra bit? But anyway, the point what I'm trying to say is, like, when you're making something for somebody, something bespoke or crochet couture, right? What is the process do you go with your client to make something?
So they'll just actually, before we move on, knitting I think is a lot harder than crocheting, but I think that's only because I'm not used to it. So props to you for trying. Well done. But the process of making something for someone usually starts with, maybe I'll get a little message being like, hey, I really like this piece, or I really like this piece, and probably quite naughty, but I usually try and steer them towards an idea that I've had. So sometimes I have I have a folder somewhere where it has like loads of little drawings, and I have a pin board like above my work desk. I'm going to show you, but I know the listeners won't be able to see.
Oh, that's very creative. And all those plants. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. I'm a plant mum. So yeah, that's my like little creative board, and I'll usually use that and this little folder that I've got for a little bit of inspiration, you know.
All the plants, I was like, I wish to have that life, but I have cats, and a cat will just.
I have a cat,
and the cat doesn't trouble it.
She has been known to knock over a few plants now and then, but she's quite good. Like, especially because those ones are on shelves.
Yeah,
she doesn't go up that high.
Put it on my shelf. Okay, cool. That's
cool.
All right then. Now you inspire me to get a plant. Now I've got a shelf.
Do it.
Your house. Okay,
just
great.
Make sure they're in light, and make sure that you know when you're watering them, and you've got a little schedule going on.
Oh, schedule.
Yeah.
That
and get them from. I've recently found out that a lot of plants aren't necessarily as sustainable as we think, because of they're usually like shipped from, like, internationally shipped, which has a big carbon emission, and they're like grown, mass produced, and yeah, they can sometimes be problematic. And the way I get around that is I just use local garden centres, because I'm like, it outweighs the good with the bad.
I didn't know about that. See, it's all about being ethical. You're talking about, like, and I try to do ethical as much as possible. It is, people sometimes in the jewelry trade want absolute. If you don't know the artist and you don't know where the gold is, and you don't, there's always different ways. But it just seems like you just inspired me to think about the clothes, and you inspired me to think about my plants. I never thought about that. It's
not something that I thought about either, because it's like, oh, green, everything green is good, isn't it? But that's not the case, and that's obviously very generic, and that leads us to being susceptible to greenwashing, because just because you're buying a plant, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's sustainable. And we live in a capitalist society, don't we? So everything that can be exploited will be exploited, and it's usually to the detriment of our environment and the people that live in that environment. So,
but on a happy note,
but on a happy note, doesn't my room look really nice?
And helps your well-being, and no, I'm messing with
exactly. And I've got that fresh oxygen. Lovely.
Take out the horrible London air.
Yeah.
Like that.
You know, London Air it's on a really high warning, isn't it, at the moment? For like the worst, it's like the worst polluted it's been in a while. It's really bad.
Do you think that's why hay fever stuff is happening? But I don't know. I'm not a hay fever specialist, but my partner
I'm
is
not
just
a hay fever specialist.
But
no, because hay fever is to do with
the pollen, isn't it?
The pollen, but maybe it's something to do with the pollution creating more cloud, which is creating low pressure, which is trapping the pollen in. That's a fetch. That's very far-fetched.
This is our diagnosis as pollen and
I am not a scientist, fever. Everyone.
Yeah, disclaimer. Okay, great. So
disclaimer.
Okay, we didn't get to the bit about the process. So you got the process of talking to your client. So your client says, I want X. And how do you...
And I will use my little inspiration board and be like, oh, I've had this idea. What do you think of this? And try and steer them towards something like that. Or some of the time they'll know exactly what they want. And I'm like, I want this in these colors. And I'm just like, sick. Okay, cool. I'll just bust that out really easy. And then sometimes I'll get people, this is what I really love, when people are like, I want a hat. And that's it. And I'm like, creative freedom. Let me just go to my little mood board. So somebody did that to me recently and was like, I want a hat, majority black, but I don't care what else. It just has to be majority black. And I was like, amazing. So I like went to town and like did this yellow sun in the middle of the top of the hat, and then it branched out and I added like red in it as well, and then did this granny square sun pattern around the outside, and then silk lined it as well, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I love it when people give me creative freedom and they're just like, I want this thing, but I trust you and I like what you do enough for me to just allow you to take my money and run with it.
That is ideal, isn't it? It's a win-win both ways, isn't it?
Okay. It really is. And like people, then I feel more like less like a business and more like an artist, which is I think the way I'm trying to go down more recently, because I just it's one of those things where I just don't have the capability to be like really business headed. Like I'm not that person. I'm more of like a person where I'm like, I've got all this energy and all this creative passion, and I have a skill that I've been harnessing over the last 7 years. Like I would want to just like make things, and for people to enjoy them is like collateral damage basically, which is quite selfish, but it started off as a really selfish process for myself and my own mental ease, my mental health. So I think continuing that and trying to make sure that this process isn't something that I'm exploiting for the benefit of other people. Do you know what I mean? It's something that's really tricky that I've been trying to like work around for the past couple of years, is how much I let this brand, this business like fly away and like do its own thing, and how much I push it to go down that businessy path, or how much I push it to like still be remotely for myself. And that comes with being like really picky in what I decide to do and the projects I decide to be involved with.
No, that makes sense. Okay, I'm just thinking about like how much pleasure like you get from doing these creative projects and supporting people with a unique product, or a unique kind of piece of art.
Well, that's a lot. That's where a lot of the pleasure comes from, is I think working with other people, because that's how you grow, right? It's like there's only so much you can do by yourself, and like letting other people in with their own creative energy, you just become an amalgamation of all these people that you're working with, which is so lovely to be involved in. So I get a lot of pleasure with working with different like stylists, different other crochet artists, different people that can like steer you in some sort of way, which is really nice. I remember in my RA levels once, we had a project that was like, I think it was our final piece. And our teacher was like, it's not going to be like the other ones where you had a definitive title, like you're going to do something on nature, you're going to do something on adornment. The final piece was like, you can do whatever you want. And that in itself was kind of stifling, because you had no idea the direction you wanted to go in, and you had to find the start rather than the start being there for you. And I think when you're working with people, it's the same sort of idea, that like you are given constraints, but the constraints help you be creative rather than you trying to decipher this big, vague idea.
Yeah, so it's just having parameters, isn't it? Because when someone says to me, make a ring, I'm like, if I make this ring, yeah, what does that mean? A ring means to you something different, and a ring means to be something different. And without any context, this is what I like, is sometimes it's good to be super clear with clients and stuff in that consultation stage, so you know exactly what they want. Because once you start making, there's no going back, and you have to pay for it. So it is what it is. But
exactly. That is so true. Being
that
really
consultation
clear.
and that, you know, that discovery work, it's so important. People don't realize that is such hard work, trying to figure out in someone's head. And sometimes when people come
what they want,
they don't have pictures or drawings, just like, I just want this, this and that and that, and you got to be like Columbo.
You've got to figure it out.
Because
you know what, that stage in itself sometimes takes longer than actually making the garment, and takes the most energy, because you're talking to the person and trying to get this idea out of there. That's why I like somebody just being like, I trust you, go for it. Because I don't have to go through the, like, when somebody's really, really picky and they're like, no, I know exactly what I want. It's just like, well, then you have to use terminology to try and communicate that to me. And like, some things get lost in translation or whatever, so that bit takes so much time.
Absolutely.
And then people are umming and ahhing, and then you tell them one price, and then they're like, actually I want to add this and this and this, and I'm like, well babe, that's going to be like another X amount, and they're like, oh god, no, can't do that. And I'm like, oh. This is the price it costs for my time, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Okay, good, you can hear me now. Okay, so it's just it's trying to weed out sometimes, you know, this is just me. It's like, try to qualify the people, and it took me a while. I'm not really good at it, but it's a working process of like, I ask people really quick questions, like, you know, if someone DMs me like, oh Cassandra, I want something bespoke or whatever, commissioned, I'm like, what's your budget? What, obviously not really hard, but like, you know, what's your time frame? When do you want it by? What's your budget? What materials? And do you have any pictures to show me? And then if people can get back to me quickly, that shows me they're willing, or people are just having a punt. You know, people think, oh, because I'm an independent designer, I'm going to be cheaper than Tiffany's. Yeah, but I can't be too cheap, because I still have to make things are made out of precious metal and precious materials, right? People just try to like, oh, all the people would be like, oh, you're black, I'm black, sis. Give me can
don't
you do
sis
this?
Me.
You do sis. I'm just like, they're like,
she used the sis discount. She gets,
they do that, and it's usually some men, they do that, and they're like, oh, you know, I saw this Chanel bracelet or whatever, I can't remember, or Tiffany's bracelet, I don't know what, some brand name. Can you make it similar? But I want it for like literally a fraction of the price. I'm just like, where am I supposed to get the gold from?
That's not how it works.
But yeah, it is what it is. So
it's not how it works. It's not how it works, because you should really be putting more of your money. I mean, personal opinion, but I think you should really be putting more of your money into the smaller brands, because those are the people that are going to need the money more than these bigger brands, and those are the people that are probably more likely to be ethically producing this isn't 100% of the time, but they're more likely to be ethically producing their their what's the word I'm looking for, their items, their products, whatever, they're more likely to be like transparent about the production process. They're more likely to be all of these different things. You can find out whether they're like zero waste. You're going to get a better customer service from them because you're usually just talking straight to the creator. Like myself, like I'm an open book. You can message me anything. You're in my DMs, like I'm going to reply. Do you know what I mean? Like, where else can you do that? You can't do that with Tiffany's. Just call up the person who's actually making the ring and be like, hey, are you being paid a fair wage? What sort of pollutants do you put into your local river next to your factory, which doesn't let any of its workers have a break? And things like that.
Totally understandable. No, totally understandable. Yeah, because you can talk to the maker. You know when you buy from makers, you're contributing to people's dreams, and
exactly,
and you're usually getting a quality product because you can do a more intensive quality check or quality assurance than other companies. So
yeah, that is such a good point. That is such a good point.
That is what it is. Okay, so what is one of the most, I won't say crazy, but what is the most, like, I don't know, ambitious designs which you've made using?
Oh, that's really exciting. That's such a good question. So there's one I worked on recently, which was both ambitious and a little bit stressful, but also really, really fun to do. So it's with my friend, this girl called Charlie McCosker. Look her up. She is a designer that's literally just graduated CSM, and her stuff is incredible. She like really prioritizes sustainability, and stuff is just really, really cool. So for her final project, she commissioned me to make part of this long ruffly skirt, and I was working for her for like a couple of weeks to try and figure out the design, and she came up with this pattern of this massive circle, and I was like, if you do a massive circle and then cut out a circle in the middle, when you lift that up, if that's a piece of material, that creates like this really nice ruffling effect. So we did that, and then she gave me all these panels, and my job was basically to recreate the panels in plastic bag yarn crochet, which I know sounds really weird, but the final product was really good. So we gathered up all these plastic bags from like friends. I did loads of like Instagram call outs to be like, guys, anyone in South London got any plastic bags I can pick up? Anybody in Thanet got any plastic bags that I can pick up? And like managed to gather like over 100 plastic bags, and she got some helpers to help her like cut them up into strips, and I found this YouTube video that would like cut them up into like the perfect strips for crocheting, and then I crocheted like these massive panels all in like Tesco, Sainsbury's, as the off-licensee bags, and then I also got this other crocheter that I found on Instagram. Side note, Instagram is just such a fucking good hub for connecting with other creatives. I absolutely adore it for that one purpose alone. So I found this girl called Libby. Her Instagram is hot not libs. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's it. And she focuses on plan and makes like plan bags and plan plastic pots as well. She's incredible. Plan is plastic yarn, so plastic bags that are cut into strips. Yeah. We call it plan in the industry.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So she focuses on plan and stuff like that. So I got her to help me out with that as well, and we ended up making this like massive raffly skirt. And then Charlie sewed it all together, added all these embroidery pieces that she'd commissioned people that she'd met in South Africa to make, and used this amazing tartan material to like add texture to it. So yeah, that was really ambitious, and I spent a lot of time. Like the deadline was quite short, which is why we ended up having to get another crocheter involved. but managed to smash it out. I also got my mum involved as well. I went home for a couple of days and found out that my mum could crochet. She was like, Sarah, come home, it'll be really nice. And I was like, oh, I can't, mum, I've got so much crocheting to do. And she was like, yeah, I'll do it, I'll help you out. We can just like drink leffe in the conservatory and like and like crochet. And I was just like, sold, I'm coming home. And yeah, it turns out that she could crochet as well. And I was like, damn,
there you go.
This is where I got it from.
There you go. Okay,
but so imagine crocheting for 7 years and then finding out that your mum can crochet. Like, I crocheted whilst I was at home for 2 years. And like, what? I was just like, why have you never shared this skill with me?
Maybe she's trying to train you, like, go on, my daughter, you find your own destiny. When, you know we're training for this for our whole lives, we're going to come together, and that moment, you all came together.
Yeah, it really did. And she probably was like that, but she's very much that person where it's like, find your own path, but also follow this path that I set out for you, which is education.
The paradox of parenthood and pushy mothers. Well, I've taught for my mom anyway. So
yeah, well, no, I'm the same.
So how long did it take you then to make this big like piece of fabric?
I think it ended up being something like 40 hours worth of work.
Really? That's like a week.
Yeah, it was a full work week, and I did it on top of so I have a full-time job as well, and so I did it on top of that. So I was like doing 8 hours working from home, finishing, having a little snack, and then doing another like 7 hours after work. Yeah, it was intense. The things you do for creativity, eh?
The love, yes. The love and okay, no, that's amazing. Okay, and what did people say about, when it was finished and when it was displayed and stuff like that?
Yeah, so it's just been displayed. Like, she had the final runway really recently, and yeah, it got really good feedback, and I'm really happy with it. So yeah, good. I'm yet to see like the final shots of it, because I think everything's still like coming out at the moment. Like, when I say it's recent, I mean like really, really recent. Like, yeah, it came out maybe last week, a week ago.
Wow, this is recent COVID times and everything. Okay.
Yeah, COVID times. Yeah, which is it's tricky to work in COVID times. Like we were doing it like this, like a lot of Zoom meetings beforehand. And this is the thing that people don't see, like the actual crocheting took 40 hours, but the time beforehand and like the actual collaboration time as well, the majority of that happens beforehand, like getting to know one another's vision, understanding one another, like working out the particular bits, and then also gathering all the materials, because it was all plastic bags from like friends and stuff like that, like secondhand plastic bags, because we wanted to make it as sustainable as possible, or like Charlie wanted it like that as well, and I was like, yes, which was part of the reason why I got involved in the first place.
No, this sounds like a match made. Is it mutual?
Great, it really was. It was a really good collaboration. I properly enjoyed it, and working with friends as well. When you get the opportunity to do it, it's just so much fun. It really is. It really is a lot of fun.
It's a great experience that you cherish, but it worked out all in the end. So, before we leave, it's just thinking about what people have conceptions about crochet brands, because they might not think it's just me. My biases. It's for young people. Crochets is for certain type of other people and older people, maybe, or
Yeah.
So how do you get around these stereotypes and all this kind of stuff?
I think it's good to not really think about the stereotypes too much and just try and be authentically yourself, because you can just get really bogged down in what other people think, when at the end of the day you're not doing what other people think. And to please other people, this is purely for yourself, unless you are wanting to be a business that is for the people, then you might need to take that into consideration a little bit. But some of the stereotypes, I think, when I started crocheting, it was very much like, this is what old people do. Like I remember doing it on the overground once years ago and I was making, I can't even remember what I was making, but this little girl opposite me was like, Mummy, is that girl knitting? That's what old people do. She looks like an old lady. And I literally just like, it just made me smile so much. I was like, that's so funny. Also adorable. Also, it's not knitting. Number one, little girl.
Did you show that the technique? Actually, excuse me, you're offending what I'm doing.
This is a hook, not knitting needles. No, I didn't. But I have done that sometimes when I'm getting my hair done at Peck and Palms. The last time there was this girl that kind of like was in Peck and Palms. I think she was the daughter of one of the hairdressers, and she was like doing stuff around me, and then she noticed that I was crocheting. She was like, oh my god, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm crocheting. And she was just like, oh, that looks really cool. And I was like, do you want to go? And so I like taught her how to do a couple of the stitches, which was really nice.
And was she crocheting your hair? That's what I want to know, because my hair, I tried to crochet in quarantine. I was like, I can't do braiding. Yeah, I tried to I crocheted my hair. When I say crochet
braids,
crochet braids, single plaits, or that twist and just crocheted it in. And I thought,
no, she wasn't crocheting my braids, but I've actually never done that. So I did these braids myself.
What?
And
that's cool.
Thank you.
How long did it take?
It took like 5 hours, because I do them like thick as hell. I don't know if you can see that parting, but that's like, it's like huge.
Oh my god, I went to a parting class. I did a parting class. And
did you?
Yeah, I did it online. I don't think I'm good learning how to do hair online, because my partings are crap, but I need to do, once you can part, man.
That's the majority of the work. It's like creative processes. The majority of the work is not the actual doing, it's the actual like parting, getting the design, do you know what I mean, sectioning the bits off, understanding where you're going. There we go. That's how we bring it back to black hair.
There you go. And weaving into life.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So what was before we always ask the last question is like, what is the most best thing people said about your designs and your work, the best testimonial you've had or feedback?
Yeah, you said this at the beginning of the podcast before we started, and I was just like, what have people said about my work that I've been like, that's really lovely? I think most recently I sent off a little catalogue to a friend who's doing a music video and wanted to borrow some stuff, borrow some items that I've made, and I sent it off to her. And I usually have this catalogue to send off for people that are asking to pull some stuff for shoots, and I like keep it updated with some of the sample stuff that I have. And she sent me a really nice voice note back that was like 1 minute and 40 seconds long, and she was just like, it sounds so braggy to say this sort of stuff, but it was really nice, bit of an ego boost. She was just like, your colours are absolutely a bit of me and the raw talent gal. It was something like that. And I was just like, it's just really nice to know that some of your work is like appreciated, and people do like really relate to it and really like it. And I know it's not for everyone, but I'm not making clothes for everyone. I'm kind of making clothes from my vision. And then, yeah, when people enjoy it and think that like, oh yeah, this is exactly the colours that I would have picked. And I really, really enjoy the process of like different colour combinations and shapes and stuff like that. So to be complimented on that specifically, which is something that I like really pride myself on, was just like a massive pat on the back.
Oh, it feels quite warm and very appreciated, isn't it? Like when you get really good feedback, just keep going, I guess, in the hard times, creative times. No, it's like a wave, but it just seems like you're getting really interesting work and lots of collaborations, which is really good.
Yeah, I think that's the main goal for the future, is to just do more and more interesting products and interesting designs and collaborate with more people. Like that is definitely the goal. So if anybody wants to hit me up and collaborate with me, send me a message on Instagram. My Instagram handle is @Sarabi_London. _LDN. Sorry.
So we're going to put it all in the show notes. If you're listening or if you're watching, it's going to be in the show notes. So why did you call it, just I'll keep saying last question, Sarabi? Why'd you call it that?
Oh yeah, this is actually quite an interesting story. Well, I find it interesting. Okay. So my name is Sara, and as I said at the beginning of the show, I'm my mum's Tanzanian, so I'm half Tanzanian. And I don't know if you've ever seen The Lion King.
Yes.
Simba's mum is called Sarabi, and The Lion King is all set in the Serengeti, in half in Tanzania, half in Kenya. And there's a bit in The Lion King where Scar has taken over Pride Rock and he calls down for Simba's mum and he's like, Sarabi! And that is how my mum used to shout me down for dinner when I was younger. And it kind of sounds like my name, Sara.
Sarabi, Sara. Okay.
First 4 letters are the same. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of just adopted that. And when I was coming up for a name, when I was, how old would I have been? I think I was like maybe 20, 21. I was like thinking of different Swahili names that I could call it, because I wanted to have some sort of connection. I wanted like a more of an alter ego. That was the name I probably would have given myself. So I was like, Sarabi, got it. That's what I'm gonna call myself.
That's such a great like interesting story how you get names. My name and my brand is just my name, is just what my parents gave me. But yours has a great story.
Is it? Yeah, wait. What's your real name? Isn't it just your initials?
Yeah, it's just my name, KLG, Cassandra Long Gordon. Yeah. And I think I was named after a betting horse. So that's how romantic my name is. Thanks. Betting habits. So
she's lucky though. There you go.
I think she won, that horse.
Did she?
Yeah. Don't know how much she won, but yeah, so here I am. Don't know how lucky I am, but it is what it is.
We're here, we're alive, we're breathing. It's not great weather unless you like the rain, and we live another day.
We live another day. Okay, so thank you.
So I don't know, I would say we're all pretty lucky.
I like that. Okay, we'll leave it there. We're all lucky people. And this is the Create For You podcast with Cassandra Lauren Gordon and Sara from Sarabi, London, Crochet brand. Please connect with us and stay in touch. Speak soon.